The 417Gamers is a group of board, tabletop, and card gamers in the 417 area code. This is the podcast. Welcome to the 417Gamer podcast, episode 35, the one with Matt and Tile Laying Games. In the 4, we are joined by one of our friends from the 417Gamer group. Matt comes by. In the 4, we talk about Faraway, Civolutions, Marvel Remix, and Harmonies. In the 1 topic of the show, we talk about tile laying games. And then in the 7, we talk about 7 of our favorite tile laying games. Let's get on with the show. Welcome to the 417Gamer podcast. My name's Rick.
And I'm Andrea.
And one of our other friends in the 417Gamer group, Matt. Say hi.
Hey, everybody.
In the 4, we like to talk about 4 games that we've been enjoying recently. Andrea, we were talking about tile laying games later in the episode, but we played a new tile laying game to us called Faraway. Faraway is designed by Johanna Scoopy and Corentin Lebrat. It is published by Pandasaurus Games. Plays 2 to 6. We played it at 4. We really liked it. We played it at 2 and 3. We really liked it. Mm-hmm. Basically, it's a tile. The cards are square cards, and it's a card tile drafting game. Each round, you're going to play a card, then you're going to draft. If the card you play has a number value that is higher than the previously played card, you can also gain a sanctuary. All these cards have symbols on them. Some of the symbols will help you score later. Some of them will be prerequisites to allow them to score. And then some of them will help you gain more sanctuaries as you go. Andrea, we got recommended this by Sansu and Jen, who've been on the podcast. And we really, really hit it off with this one, and I like it a lot.
I like the funky art on the cards. I have never... It's like a combination of Mayan, alien...
Incan.
Yeah. It's fun. The little characters are fun. The extra end-of-game point cards... they don't have as good of art on them. They're more just plain, gives a number and possibly a icon that you can use towards your end of game points. But it's simple. Like you said, drafting, you're trying to do combinations of symbols, get more points. They're little, I do like that they're small square cards. Mm-hmm. They stack up better on the table, I think. But yeah, we've played this probably 10, 15 times now in the week and a half that we've had it.
It's got a little more teeth into it than most gateway games, but it's not like super tough by any means.
Oh no, it's still a lightweight game.
And it's over in like about 20, 25 minutes, so it's definitely a filler gateway game.
It looks incredible. I mean, I like the cards. I've not played it, but it's kind of crazy. You know me, it's on BGA now, and I actually read the rules to it about a month ago. So while I haven't played it, I actually do kind of know how it plays, and it looked really good. So I'm excited to try it.
All right. Matt, what's a game you've been playing lately?
Well, Civolution is a Stefan Feld game, a new big game, point salad game that I've really been enjoying a lot. I've played it 6 or 8 times, which is a lot for any game for me, and incredible for a long, multi-hour game. So, but it's Stefan Feld's the one that did Castles of Burgundy, which is one of my favorite ever games, and the dice selection mechanic of the actions for that game is really what keeps me involved in the points out of that. And Civolution takes that mechanic to the next level, and it requires 2 dice for every action, and there's like dozens of actions that can be done. So it is definitely a brain burner as far as action selection goes, but we've really enjoyed it.
Yeah. What's the player count that you've played at?
I've played it at 2 and 4 several times. 2 player once. It really plays at all player count. Okay. Similar and well.
Yeah,
so.
nice.
Yeah, the time lists at 90 to 180 minutes. On your 4-player, how far did you push that 180 minutes?
Well, the very first 4-player game that I was playing with some experienced people and learning it, we actually played it pretty quick, within the 180 minutes. Okay. But I've also taught it and played 4-player that took 4+ hours to learn. I mean, so it's one that I think can be done in a reasonable amount of time once you learn all the actions. But like I said, it's just so much to learn and explore. I mean, the fun part of it though is you don't have to know it all to play the game. There's a lot to explore, the different cards and actions and how they go together. So it's been fun.
Nice.
All right, and that's published by Deep Print Games and Pegasus Spiel. Andrea, what's another game that we've been playing lately?
Marvel Remix. It's another card game that...
Yeah, we've talked about Fantasy Realms on the podcast. It's, I think, from the same designer. It's designed by Bruce Glasgow. It's published by WizKids Games, but you start off a hand of cards in Fantasy Realms. It's a hand of 7, 8 cards with the deluxe version. You draft a card, and then you discard a card. Game is over once there's X amount of cards in the tableau. Same thing with Marvel Remix, but now you have Marvel characters.
Awesome.
Whereas Fantasy Realms is generic fantasy. This is all the Marvel characters that you love. And this is late enough when Disney's acquired the X-Men and all that, so you have X-Men characters in there. Where our one little quibble with Marvel Splendor is there's no X-Men in it. And X-Men's my favorite property from Marvel.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
That would be amazing if they came out with an expansion that include the characters,
That would be
the
nice,
X-Men characters. But no, it's great because you're doing your set collection, and it helps to keep your Avengers together. You know, like if you get Thor and Mjolnir, or you get Cap and Cap's shield together, you can, do better combos that way. There are locations, like Cerebro, Xavier Mansion that pair up well, help you get your most points you can get. We've played the heck out of it since we got it, and my brother, who's not a huge gamer, we pulled this out and he's like, "Oh, what's that?"
Yeah.
And so he really loved it. We had to quit one day early. I can't remember. We got a call or something. He's like, "No, I just evolved Jean Grey. I need to. We must finish."
Yeah, he was going for an X-Men set because I think he had Professor X, the X-Jet, Jean Grey, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But Marvel Remix, you start off with a villain and then a hand of 6 Marvel Remix cards. At the end of the game, you must have at least one villain and then either a hero or a sidekick to even score your hand.
Right.
And then when you're scoring, your villain a lot of times will have effects that will blank text on different cards. So you need to either get cards that will negate that or will fight that villain to negate their blanking, or you can potentially just draft another villain if you don't like that one. Like Loki, he's worth 13 points, but you subtract the at the end of the game, you take off the top card of the remix, and whatever its power is, you subtract it from your score. So it's a gamble with Loki.
But you got lucky last time we played. You flipped a 0.
I did flip a 0.
So you had negative nothing.
I did have.
I've played Fantasy Realms a few times and enjoyed it fine, but I've not played the Marvel one. But I think my biggest complaint on Fantasy Realms was probably just the genericness of. I mean, you have to have this, you have to have that, but it doesn't, make sense theme wise. So the Marvel sounds really, really cool.
Marvel Remix is also easier to score.
Very
the Fantasy Realms, I have the generic scoring app that I still don't think is licensed yet, and that's the only way I score Fantasy Realms because I am still not convinced that anybody that has ever taught us that game, including myself, has ever scored it perfectly for all players.
Right.
I mean, there's a whole bunch of like Genie and the Vagabond and stuff like that have after deck effects, or who's the one that can mimic? It's not a shapeshifter, it's something else. The Chimera. I think it's the Chimera that can duplicate a card. But when you duplicate the card, it duplicates it by some specific way to where you don't get all the cards effect, you get some of it.
Right.
And some people count too much and some people don't count enough. But
was there a specific reason mechanically why it's easier to score, or just not as confusing mechanics?
Not as confusing mechanics. There's not like the Gem of Order in Fantasy Realms where you're trying to get the cards numerically in sequential order.
Gotcha.
There's nothing like that.
And it all just makes sense. Like if you get enough radiation symbols, you can evolve Bruce Banner into the Hulk. It's just easy to follow.
That's another option. Is there's some characters that your card will flip upside down. Oh. It starts as Bruce Banner, but if you get 2 radiation symbols in the rest of your hand, it flips and he becomes Hulk.
And he's worth more points.
Nice.
It just all makes sense.
Yeah. Like Tony Stark, he starts with just him. He's only worth like 2 or 3 points. But if you get enough text symbols in your hand from other cards, he flips over and becomes Iron Man. He's worth like 12.
So it's really back to the theme.
Yeah.
Enhances it and makes it easier to understand the scoring too, as well as the game itself. Awesome.
We like it a lot. Matt, one more game that you were looking forward to talking about?
The other one we've been playing a lot is called Harmonies, and I actually saw it on BGA for the first time, I've purchased it since. But it is you have a small board, and you have a cards laid out that are animals that you can choose, and you also have a bag of wooden pieces that you're building your landscape with, and each animal needs a unique landscape to put the animal tile or cube on. So it's a and you score points for both building the different landscapes. The different landscapes score differently. Mountains have to be surrounded by 3 different colors and be in a range, buildings by 3 different colors. Mountains have to be in a range of more than one mountain, and so on and so forth. And then the animals score depending on how many of the cubes from the cards you get out onto the landscapes. So you have to build the landscapes first for the animal and put it out. So it sounds complex, but it really is a very tight and easy to teach game, easy to learn. I've taught it of all level of players have enjoyed it, and I enjoy it, and we've played many games of it. And it's beautiful. The art's beautiful. The components are great. So.
And those lighter games, when it catches so much of a net of people, like River Valley Glassworks is something that we've played with different levels of gamers, people that don't game with us hardly at all, and like people that game with us all the time. And River Valley Glassworks has that one more game, like, it's got that Lay's or Pringles can't just have one, they want to, go again.
Right.
But no, Harmonies is designed by Johan Benevenito, and it's published by Lilliblood Games.
Nice.
Guys, that's the 4 and the 417. Andrea, what do we do next?
We go on to the 1.
All right, let's go then.
Greetings from the Moon City. Mark your calendars. Badge sales kick off February 28th, 2025. Secure yours early and take advantage of our pre-boarding sale running through March 14th. Badge pricing, standard badges are $60, but early birds get an amazing $15 discount if you grab yours during the pre-boarding window. Expansion packs. Hey, we've only got 20 expansion packs featuring exclusive perks such as a limited edition t-shirt, admission to our fall harvest game day, and more to be announced before launch. Get ready for an unforgettable weekend of gaming, friends, and fun. See you at Moon City Con 2025 for Meeple Kind.
The 1 and the 417 Gamer podcast is our topic of the show, and we're talking about tile-laying games. Board Game Geek lists tile-laying games or tile placement games. They feature placing a piece to score victory points or trigger actions, often based on adjacent pieces or pieces in the same group, cluster, or keying off non-spatial properties like color, feature completion, or cluster size. A classic example is Carcassonne, where a player randomly draws a tile, places it next to other tiles in order to complete map features. There are so many tile-laying games when you dive into this.
Yes.
And this was on my list of kind of game mechanics, and we were looking at worker placement, but Andrea still has a lot more worker placement games that I want to play with her before we talk about that.
Gotcha.
Because that's a game mechanic she likes quite a bit, but I want to take her down that rabbit hole a little bit more before we go through that. But I was looking at tile-laying games, and when I started looking at the list, there's a lot.
Yeah, I was surprised. You brought the topic up, and I was like, I don't know. Trying to think of them, and then you start doing the research, and it's like, man, that mechanics in many games, and then and what you can call a tile-laying game versus just a game that contains the mechanic. I mean, I was fascinated when I started doing the research.
Yeah.
So our top list might be, we'll talk about that when we get into the 7, but mine might have some games that have it as an aspect that I like a lot, and then some games I like a lot that have it more of a flushed out as a prime mechanism.
I agree.
Because I like Twilight Imperium 4, and you do lay out the tiles when you start. And the tile laying is important to start the game.
Absolutely.
But it's not, spoiler alert, going to appear on my top 7.
Right.
But that's me.
There's a lot of games that use tile laying to lay out the map, and sometimes it's even an action in the game.
Right.
Which makes it more prevalent. But is it a tile laying game?
But yeah. So I've got no qualms with anybody, shoehorning a game in that they love that has, even if you just put a couple tiles down, whatever. I mean, like Tapestry, a game that we've kind of cooled on that we're kicking out of our collection, has that tile laying aspect in the middle of it. It's not a huge component necessarily, but it's there and it's an important piece. Because, I mean, you kind of do need to get out and do some exploring to get some more resources. Otherwise, your resource management's going to go kaput pretty quick.
Yeah, or something like Istanbul, which is a game that I love.
Yeah.
That you lay out the entire, map, and that is critical to how the game works. But it's not really a tile-laying game. That's not...
But tiles were laid, and it's hugely important.
Hugely important. And a great game. So, it's tough.
And then, as far as tile games are, I mean, Carcassonne is one of the prime examples, one of the earliest games. That's designed by Klaus Teuber, and I think it came out in the year 2000. And that's actually what we used for our guest book for our wedding.
Wow, oh, that's neat.
So we grabbed 2 copies of Carcassonne that were the same. We had an older copy, and we had to go track down another older copy that were the same color.
Yeah.
Right.
And we had people just write their name. So now we have... It's not quite a double set because we threw out the tiles that people didn't sign in on.
Right.
And that's our copy of Carcassonne. Now when we play,
That is cool.
Yeah.
we put the tiles down, and over the years we're going to have stories about certain people. And when my niece came to our wedding, she made sure the security guard knew that she was the fairy princess, and Andrea was the
wedding princess.
The wedding princess.
Yes.
And you were the dragon, Rick? Or what?
I was just the guy standing up there. But on top of that, there's different styles of tiles. I mean, there's square tiles a la Carcassonne. Then you've got your hex tiles, like Keyflower, the Key series. What's the city building one by Bezier Games?
Is that Alhambra?
Suburbia.
Suburbia. Oh, yeah, the square
Well,
tile.
I love Alhambra.
Yeah. Does it have tiling? I don't love Alhambra.
It
I
does.
do love Alhambra.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point, is building your Alhambra.
So there's a tiling.
But so there's square tiles, there's hex tiles, then there's cards like Arboretum.
That's what I was going to bring up, is cards.
Yes.
Yeah, Arboretum. Or Earth.
Earth
has cards,
Building
but
that
you lay them
tableau.
out.
And the area where you put them and when they trigger is extremely important.
Extremely. Yeah.
What do you prefer? If somebody said, I want to play a tile laying game, would you pull out a classic square tile, something that has hex tiles, or something with cards?
I like the Tetris style pieces, the way they fit together.
Like patchwork and
Yeah,
yeah,
that's fun for me.
New York Zoo.
New York Zoo is what I
Yes.
was going to mention.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A Feast for Odin. Yeah, those are some really good ones. Also, Carcassonne and tile laying games popularized the meeple, the mini person. Little wood.
Really?
Yeah, that started with
I didn't
Carcassonne.
know that. Seems like that'd be a worker placement mechanic.
He became a worker later.
He did.
But he started just standing on a tile.
His debut.
His debut was either laying in a field, because apparently farmers in France are lazy. I didn't say it, Klaus Teuber did.
Right.
Is it Klaus Teuber or is it Klaus Jürgenweird? I'll look at it. I might have that wrong. But yes.
Jürgen Weird.
Jürgenweird.
Yeah.
Sorry, Teuber. It's not yours. But so the meeple got popularized, and then everybody started making their own meeples. Anna meeples and Dragon meeples, Dyna meeples.
Jeeples.
Jeeples.
I got a game of Jeeples.
You got Jeeples?
I do.
What's your favorite meeple, Andrea?
Gosh, I like the ones that, I know you hate stickers, but we have had several games where we have had the plain little block meeples, and then we put the stickers on them.
Yeah.
And they're very detailed with nice art. I enjoy doing that.
I did that for our viticulture copy, and I do
Yeah.
hate stickers, but I like viticulture enough and Concordia, because we have 2 different Concordias. We have the Concordia that I bring to the convention. That one is stickered. Then we have the Concordia that stays at home, that's in a big wooden box that has all the maps collected. That doesn't go to the convention anymore because that wooden box has seen better days. The hinges aren't looking so good. The little latches aren't holding very well. I need to find a new storage solution anyway, because there's 2 maps that don't fit in there now.
Oh, no.
The new Rome and Sicilia map and the one previous to that don't fit in
How many
there.
maps are there now? More than 10?
Close to 10.
Close to 10. That's incredible.
And they're all double-sided.
Nice.
So you got, 18, 20 different maps to play on?
Yeah.
Concordia was the first game that I played with Rick. Rick taught me Concordia. And I still
Really?
remember it was the first time I met Rick and played a game with him. So that was.
Did I stomp you? I apologize if I
I
did.
don't remember. I don't mind.
I hope not.
No, it was fun.
That's one of
I'm
the
still
games
here.
I can try and go down a different path and pull myself back a little bit. There's a couple games when I teach, I can't help but not stomp people. So I usually don't bring that out with new people out.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Unless it's an attacky game. Then I want to make sure I attack that new person real quick so they know that I'm a target and they can come back and attack me.
Right.
Because a lot of new people, I get it, bashful coming out, meeting new people, and I know I'm tangenting onto a different topic, but I want them to feel free to come after me and attack me because everybody else is going to anyway.
Right.
And it also makes me feel really good when we play Lords of Waterdeep and I get everybody's mandatory quests and I still win by a couple points. It feels really good. Lords of Waterdeep, whenever you're putting down the little buildings, those are tiles.
Really?
That is a little bit of tile. I mean, it's not a huge component.
Yeah. But it's
It's
part
an
of it.
important-
Yeah.
Because if all you had were those central little
Shops.
workers' placement spots, that game would be blah.
Yes.
And it'd be a lot harder to complete your quests.
For sure. Tiling game, I don't know. Definitely tile mechanics.
Yeah, tile mechanics.
And a good game.
So how important, if you listed it, tile laying, how big of a component is that for you? Do you really enjoy it? Does it just kind of fade to the back?
I mean, I guess for me, it just depends on how it fits into the game thematically.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it only being a small mechanic part of the game. Like, love Lords of Waterdeep, but I wouldn't not consider that a tile-laying game. It's just putting out a new feature, So.
If it's the prime mechanic, is that a driver of you trying to play it?
Like I said, if it's like a puzzle and I'm trying to fit stuff together, then yes, I do enjoy that. The one we just got rid of last
Nova Luna?
Yeah, Nova Luna. That was putting tiles together. But it was almost a like dominoes where you're
Right.
putting the spots together. Did not care for that one.
Oh, I liked it a lot.
Oh,
It's
I
just,
liked
I liked it a lot, but I didn't love it.
Yeah.
And like we've talked about, we are one in, one out. And we just picked up FinSpan, which we'll talk about next month. And we also picked up the new Azul Duel. And it depends on if we like Azul Duel enough.
Yeah.
Does it stay in our collection and kick something else out? Or do we float it on?
Azul's a tile laying game.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that
Well,
one
they're
qualifies
literally little tiles.
as a tile laying
Yeah.
game.
And those are chunky little, Bakelite tiles. And
I love those. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
the way they feel and putting them together.
they're
So yeah,
nice.
for that one,
For
absolutely.
sure. I like the Tetrisy aspect. I have a hard time saying that tiling was my favorite genre or something
Sure.
like that. I mean, but obviously there's a lot of great games that use the mechanic.
Yeah.
And I think if you have a good Tetrisy, a good visual spatial puzzle, then I think the mechanic can certainly carry it. I just played Planet Unknown for the first time recently,
yeah.
and there's a great example of a prime tiling game that was just incredible, and I loved it.
So, and I would never have put tile laying as one of my favorite mechanics. Worker placement's up there, drafting's up there. But until I looked at all the list of tile laying games, tile laying's probably going to go up in one of my top mechanics. 'Cause I do like it a lot.
Yeah.
For sure. And what about, I was thinking Dominoes and Rummikub. There's some, classic tile games.
Rummikub or Rummikub, however you pronounce it, I think it depends on what region and what the family said. There was some arguments in my family growing up when it was some Rummikub. So I like Rummikub by playing it on the computer, but that's not something that comes out on Christmas.
Not safe.
Dominoes I do like, and I haven't played Dominoes in years.
Yeah.
But something we might have to play with the family and maybe
Yeah.
talk about it later on. But that's tiling. That was our one topic of the show. I think it's fitting that we only talk about our 7 favorite, don't you?
I have a list.
Do you?
I do.
Matt, do you have a
Yes,
list?
I do.
All right, let's go on to the 7. The 7 on the 417Gamer podcast is 7 of the category we're talking about. Andrea?
Tile laying games.
All right, Andrea, what is your number 7 tile laying game?
Well, this one, I don't know if it made my list because it's new and we've just started playing it, so it's fresh in my mind. But
We just reviewed it.
And we just reviewed it. But I really do like Botnik. Yeah. It literally is tiles that you're connecting. They're pipes. It's a steampunky vibe where you're trying to water plants. So you've got to have all the pipes connected just right. And then you score points versus how many of the same colors you get grouped together, how many flowers count for points as well. If you can get a plant that's got 3 flowers, so it's triple points. I really enjoy the puzzle aspect of trying to get everything connected together, and it's a 2-player game, and it's very quick, so you and I can play it.
Between chores.
Yeah.
Go do some laundry, go clean up a thing, come back, play a game.
Yeah.
I'm excited to try that one.
Go clean up what the dogs messed up. Go put away and fold the laundry, come back and play another game.
Yeah, it's just like 15-20 minutes.
Yeah. My number 7 is Beacon Patrol. We've talked about this. We've reviewed it. It follows that Carcassonne where you're grabbing a tile and you're playing a tile. You're moving your little boats around and discovering the ocean, trying to discover beacons and lighthouses and all that stuff. I really love the art. I like that it's cooperative, but it's and this is one that I can catch myself quarterbacking a little bit too much. And I have to pull myself back because I get really excited. I'm like, oh, you could do that. Oh, you could do that. If you give me this, I could do this.
Yeah, because you can trade pieces.
Yes. And a couple people are like, all right, man. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Calm down.
I do like Beacon Patrol quite a bit. Matt, your number 7.
My number 7 is New York Zoo by Uwe Rosenberg. One of my favorite designers, and it's just a cute game. It's a Tetris-y tiling. You each have your own map, and it's got probably my favorite meeples that we talked about earlier. It's got the little animal meeples like penguins and meerkats and kangaroos. I mean, it's just a lot of fun. It's quick and easy to teach and easy to learn. And plays, I think, up to 5 players, 2 to 5 players.
Yeah.
So it's a good game.
All right, my number 6 is Chinatown. So this is one where I've kind of shoehorned it in a little bit, but the tiles are not only important because they go out on the board and they make your businesses, but they're also used to make your negotiations. These tiles that could be put on the board, and when they do, they are statically there, but they also need a combo to make your businesses complete so you get all the monies. It's a very important part of the game. I love Chinatown, and I saw it, and it's probably because I've seen a couple people's bags come out to the Thursday game night the last couple weeks. But we've had other games that we were wanting to play. I'm like, I really, really want to play Chinatown. Then it just kind of peeked up my list, and I was like, yeah, it deserves to be on my top 7. So that's Chinatown. Matt, your number 6.
My number 6 is Azul. I think that is definitely a tile laying game.
Absolutely.
It has beautiful pieces, and we've just played that so many times. My plays great at any player count. My wife loves it, so we've definitely and I enjoy all the different versions of it. But I mean, the original classic is good.
Yeah.
I haven't tried the new 2-player yet, though. I'm excited to try that.
We are too.
Yeah.
Andrea, your number 6.
World Wonders.
Yeah.
It has that Tetris piece mechanic. You have a layout, a bunch of different tiles. You start out every round with $7. Each tile has a different cost. You put them out. Every piece on your world map, your little city that you're building, every piece that's completely surrounded is worth a point. And then if you meet certain criteria, the World Wonders come out, and they each have a card with, if you can make this World Wonder touch both, a water space, a land space, and a certain color tile, you get the bonus points of having the World Wonder, and you get there are little meeples of the World Wonders.
The Wonders are awesome.
They're really, really nice pieces, and you put those on your little map. So yeah, a lot of really good stuff going on.
I actually won that game at Moon City Con this last year, and had no idea what it was, and wasn't very excited about it at all. And we have absolutely loved that game. It is way more challenging than a tile laying game. Yeah. I mean, you would think, and addictive and beautiful. Like I said, the meeples, like Andrea said, the meeples of the Wonders are incredible, and we've enjoyed that a lot.
Because initially your board comes out and it's very bland. You're like, eh. But when the game's over and you put all your little city districts out there and the world wonders are there, when you take your little picture, it's nice.
I was going to say, it is one that I want to take a picture of when I'm done. You want to take a picture of it because it's different every
I got
time.
Machu Picchu,
Cool.
the Hippodrome, and I got the Aqueduct.
Yeah.
Do they go together? They do in my city.
They look cool.
All right. Matt, you're number 5.
My number 5 is Planet Unknown from 2022. I just played this game for the first time right around New Year's this year. I'd seen it on the table, and it looked okay, but the coolest part to me about it is that it of course is a Tetris tiling game, which is great, but it's got a lazy Susan in the middle, and everybody plays at once. So I mean, it plays up to 5,
6.
I believe 6, plays up to 6, which is incredible, and it's simultaneous. So there's very little downtime. It's got tech trees, which is the only thing you could add to tiling to make it better, probably. I mean, I love the game. It's been fun.
Yeah. Andrea, you're number 5.
Arc Nova.
Yeah.
Which when I first was thinking about tile laying games, this didn't pop into my head, and you made a list of all the tile laying games, and I was like, Arc Nova's not a tile laying game. And you're like, literally, you have a map and you take tiles of your zoo enclosures and you Tetris them together, and I'm like, oh my God, it is a tile laying game.
I debated that one hard myself if it was a tiling game, but it's good.
I mean, you're focused so much on the cards with the animals and stuff, but you've got your little enclosures that have to be next to water spaces or rock spaces for different species of animals. So, yeah, really love that game.
I love that game.
Yeah.
My number 5 is Heaven and Ale, and this is one I have not had Andrea play just yet. But you are Monks Brewing beer, and you're drafting your tiles, and as you draft your tiles, depending on where you put them on your beer, either the sunny side or the dark side, depends on if you're trying to get resources or get money. And it's the balance of the both, because you need the resources to brew the beer, but if you just go resources, you're going to be poor real quick.
Yeah.
And being poor in Heaven and Ale sucks. So it's that push-pull mechanic, the really, really sharp economics that you've got to build to get to. And all that is predicated on your tile placement.
Yes. It's a very neat puzzle. I mean, very neat.
Andrea, you're number 4.
I think you skipped...
Matt started us on those number 5s.
Oh, yeah,
His was
that's
Planet
right.
Unknown.
Okay.
I kind of rotated around.
Well, I'm going to go with My City. And the reason this made my list is there is not only the regular... I'm sorry, I'm saying so much. Can we edit that out?
Ish.
No, please. Okay. So you're literally constructing your own little city. There are tiles, big chunky cardboard tiles that come out, and you're fitting them together to have either, your rivers must connect to different things or something. But there's also a legacy version that we played with some friends of ours that goes for, I think, 15 different games.
It's like 28.
Oh, wow. Much more than I thought.
It's like 26 or 28. They're chapters, and they're like 3 to 4 missions in each chapter, and you open them up, and the chapter will have a title, and like, this is, land expansion, this is the railroad, this is the gold rush.
Right.
And sometimes you're putting stickers on your board.
If you have played this at just, the regular board game version and have not done the legacy version, I highly recommend it. I still think about it. We really enjoyed it so much.
Yeah.
So.
Neat.
And I'd be willing to grab another.
And go through it again.
And go through it again.
Wow.
Yeah, I
It
would
was that
too.
good.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Matt, you're number 4.
My number 4 is Nova Luna and or Habitats. So I have they're very, very similar.
Are they?
Yes. The base mechanic, you're laying tiles and trying to match up. The tiles have a need themselves. They don't count themselves, but you might need certain colors, and so you're trying to put other tiles around it. Nova Luna is really is Uwe Rosenberg, which I love, and it's the very basic and just pure mechanic of that.
Yeah.
Habitats has the Jeeples, which is cool, but it adds a whole lot of different scoring and round scoring, and so it just depends on who you're playing with and how complex you want. But they both have a very similar feel and mechanic and great games.
Well, my number 4 is Matt's number 7, and that's New York Zoo. Uwe Rosenberg, tile laying, And the meeples, you can get the little flamingos or the penguins or the little foxes. Very fun, very eye-appealing. Although, why do you put a roller coaster in your zoo?
Kids.
Because it fills up space.
To ride.
To ride. Now, really enjoy that one.
It is a good one.
Matt, you're number 3.
My number 3 is Feast for Odin. So I feel kind of about it like Andrea feels about Ark Nova. Is it a tile laying game? Yeah, it is.
Because you have to cover up your board, otherwise you're getting no points.
And it's a huge piece of the game. Now it's really a worker placement game, action selection game, but it has
all of it.
It is all of it, and it's great. And I love that game. I haven't played it in a while, but I want to get it to the table now.
Yeah.
My number 3 is another Uwe Rosenberg, and it's Patchwork. It's the game that he kind of side-made as he was developing A Feast for Odin. He's like, hey, what if this was its own game? You're like, well, okay, so how are you going to theme it? Quilt making? And it's really, really good. And we played it a lot.
Yeah.
I've played, I don't know how many times on the app. The app's really good, but I like the economy of spinning buttons to get pieces, and you also have a time track on the board. You have to wager how much does that piece really help your board, and is it going to help your button economy or not? And then,
what economy was that?
The button economy.
The button.
Yeah, the button economy. Andrea, you're number 3.
Cascadia.
Yeah.
This is one with the hex tiles that fit together. Each one of the tiles has a different habitat on it, which corresponds to a different animal. And then when you draft your tile, you also get an animal to go with it, and then you place your animals on the corresponding tile that has the habitat that it needs. And then you have end of game scoring cards, and for how many salmon you can get in a row, or groupings of bears or such. Really like this game. Big animal lover. The hex tiles I enjoy. It just has a good table presence, and is a perfect tile laying game.
Nice. My number 2 is Alhambra. We talked about that back in the one with Matt. He's not the biggest fan of Alhambra. I understand that, but I love Alhambra. I think this is an 03 game. Really like the tile laying. I love the drafting. I like whenever you're playing Alhambra, you're building your palace or Alhambra, and as you're playing it, there are 4 buildings that you can potentially get. You have to pay for them, but they're made by 4 different nationalities, and they can only take their currency because they're very, very shrewd about that. However, you get 1 turn unless you could pay exact change for the piece, and then you get to go again. And then you can go again. But the tiles do not replace until you've completely passed and gone to the next player. Yeah. So you can run the table and get all 4 buildings and then still take money. And that really chaps some people when you can do that.
That's probably why I don't like it. No, I haven't played it in a long time. I need to try it again.
I think this is designed by Dirk Henn, and I don't have a whole lot of Dirk Henn games in my collection, but that's a game that will always be in my collection.
Nice.
Andrea, you're number 2.
Terraforming Mars. Like Ark Nova, I focus so much on the card collection portion of the game that I forget that Mars is covered in tiles, and you're buying
if you
tiles.
Did it right.
And you're buying tiles to put out. There's ocean tiles, there's city tiles, there's forest tiles, and some of our friends have the 3D printed tiles. Like the base game comes with let's say a forest, for example, it's just a green tile, but they have their 3Ds with their little trees on them, or the cities are built up little buildings.
Got the little domes over them.
Yeah.
Wow.
I really enjoy. However, the first time we played with them, one of the little trees fell off one of the pieces, and I felt so bad. And they're like, "Oh, it happens all the time."
Your first time playing that was here.
Oh, that's right.
We
it was
played,
right
we
at
played
this table.
either a 5 or 6 player game.
Yeah.
And we played with the Turmoil expansion.
Yeah.
And you were like, I don't know if I want to play that again.
It was it was the heaviest game I'd ever played at that time.
Wow.
Since then, it's become one of my favorites. I even
You
have it on my
downloaded
phone.
the app and made yourself learn it.
I did.
Well, I'm glad I didn't ruin it for you. I mean,
Yeah,
completely.
no.
It sounds like it was close. But
Well, we played Turmoil 2 other times, and we don't like Turmoil, but we like almost every other expansion.
Yeah, I like the terraforming part of terraforming.
I don't like the government part of Turmoil, which is
which is
Turmoil.
pretty much
Yeah, system by definition.
Matt, you're number 2.
My number 2 is Carcassonne, the classic. It has been so much fun. We've played that a ton. We bought one of the big boxes. I've been considering another big box. It's got so many expansions. Easy to teach. Great table presence. Great meeples. It's great.
All right, to decide what order we go for the final. And the Start Player app tells us who's 1, 2, and 3.
All right.
I'm going first. My number 1 is Planet Unknown. It's already been discussed. I love the game. The Lazy Susan, as you said, the Tetris pieces, the tech tree, so good. And then we just got a text from one of our friends. We went in with him for the expansion that has a lid for the Lazy Susan, thank goodness. And it has more planets, more corporations.
Yeah.
I think it's called the Super Moon expansion. He's got his, so he has ours, and hopefully next game nights we'll be playing the expansion at our friendly local game store.
Nice.
Matt, your number 1.
My number 1 tile-laying game we have not talked about is Isle of Skye, Chieftain to King. I haven't played it in a while, but it actually looks very similar to Carcassonne in the presence, but it has a really neat bidding mechanic that you have to buy the tiles, and it's got an economy. It just adds a lot of cool mechanics to to a tile-laying game that I really love.
Yeah. Nice.
Then Andrea, your number 1.
It is one we have talked about. Carcassonne.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong. I mean, the original, the OG tile laying game. Yeah. We liked it so much that for our wedding, our instead of a guest book, we laid out a bunch of tiles and people signed the tiles. And we've played it at least once since everybody, and every time we'll lay it, hey, it's so and so, as
and we
put it
had
together.
2 people that didn't know to write it on the land side. They put it on the
back
Carcassonne
side.
seaside. So those still have a story to them. Like, aw.
They know
Bless
nothing
their
about
heart.
Carcassonne.
No, they knew nothing.
They know nothing about games.
Yeah.
We still love them.
That's awesome.
So that was our top 7. Matt, we'd like to have you back next episode to answer the 7 questions of the 417 if you're game.
I'm game. Sounds
All right.
great.
We'll see you then. Goodbye.
Bye.
The 417 Gamer podcast is recorded and produced by Andrea and Rick Bagwell. The intro music we use, Kind, Gentle, Beautiful Person, and the outro music, Making Up for Last Time, was created by Origami Replica. For links to our show notes, music, and guest links, head over to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Hobby Gaming Network. Until next time, keep gaming in the 417.
So we're talking honorable mentions. Matt, you said you had some honorable mentions.
That's right, I do. We mentioned one of them, which was World Wonders, which we've already talked about and I love. But to me, that was the newest in tiling. Number 9, 2017. I think Rick, maybe you introduced me to that. I own it now, but it's like the quickest, easiest tile. It's got the number tiles. Did you play
Number
that
9?
with me? Yeah, number 9. Yeah, that was a good one. So as far as the easiest and lightest tiling, I thought, and 2-player, that was great. I also got Horseless Carriage this year, which is a splotter.
Yeah.
And it is 100% tiling and like the most complicated thing in the world. You're trying to build. You're trying to build manufacturing centers for cars, and it was the hardest tiling game I've ever played. I've only played it once, but I'd like to play it again. And then my final honorable mention is Tigris and Euphrates.
Last time I played it.
Yeah, which is a Reiner Knizia from 1997. So it's kind of like another old and very abstract tiling, but it is 100% tiling on a map, and I felt like it really needed to be mentioned in the tiling.
So, and that one uses square tiles, where Yellow and Yangtze uses hex tiles. Similar setup where you put out the tiles, and then it's like two halves of a game. And I've watched people play it online, and I've read the rules kind of, but I just never have gotten around to playing either one of them. And they get reprinted. Tigris and Euphrates is the more popular one. It gets reprinted about every 3 to 5 years. Yellow and Yangtze gets reprinted about every 5 to 7.
Right.
But Andrea, did you have any honorable mentions?
I do not.
You do not. Aw. Well, I was going to put Carcassonne as my honorable mention. I had to let Beacon Patrol beat it out. How badly I like playing it. I love our guest book for our wedding. But whenever I was putting it together, I had to give the nod to Beacon Patrol by how much we play it. What are some other ones? Maglev Metro is one that Ben Gutowski just taught us, and you have to put the little tiles out there, otherwise you have nowhere to take your passengers to.
That sounded fun. I heard that episode.
Yeah,
I want to try that.
It's very good. She's not as keen to it as I am. Love Botnik, Feast for Odin, Rogers of the Ganges to a little. I mean, you're putting your little board going out to the what is the statue in the middle that you're putting your tiles? You're drawing the path.
Oh, right. Yeah, your personal board that you're building. Yeah, your path. That does. You're right. It has tiles. I forgot all that.
And then Downfall of Pompeii. Love that game. Playing that with Adam, where you start putting the tiles out and putting your people on there, or you put your people out there, and then the volcano erupts, and those tiles are lava flows that are slowly, overtaking Pompeii, and you're trying to run your people out of there in time.
I did play that once.
And everybody that gets sacrificed gets tossed into the volcano. And then I jazzed our copy up by getting a little flicker tea light to throw in the volcano that makes it just a little bit better. I still want to get tiny meeples to replace the cylinders. I still haven't done that, but I'm gonna.